Hello, welcome to my video. I am making this video as a Zettelkasten example. Essentially, I'll be reading this article called The Collector's Fallacy and taking notes through my way of using Zettelkasten. Hopefully, you can take some of these concepts and bring them back to how you take notes. Anyways, I'll just get started. So, The Collector's Fallacy. So, really, to summarize this article, it's just the collector's fallacy is basically collecting a bunch of notes and having this like really complicated, or not even complicated, just like collecting a bunch of notes and not really doing anything, just collecting them for the sake of collecting them. And in the article, they say that collecting notes helps you feel good about yourself. Um, so I could see how that happens, but for me, I mainly collect things because I'm afraid of losing it. And I link this concept. It's called the loss aversion. And essentially, I don't want to potentially lose some knowledge I find meaningful. Yeah, so that's really my first note that I took. For my next note, I wrote merging content, information, ideas, and thoughts, and processing it is what integrates knowledge into our brain. Um, yeah, so I find that this is very insightful because, like, I feel like that's like the whole entire process of learning. Just integrating stuff out there to what you already know, and then building that network just within your brain is what facilitates that learning. And Zettelkasten is so powerful because it structures your notes in the same way as your brain. So it really makes it easy for you to see your notes and really connect them just like you would do in your brain, which is why I added the link. Connecting ideas is so powerful. For my next point, bookmarking is great for navigation when you want to revisit something, but is not good for learning. So they talk a little bit about this, or actually they bring this up a lot in the article. They say like photocopying items doesn't help with learning, like photocopying is bad. Um, I don't think it's bad per se. It's just like it's good for other things, just not for learning. And bookmarking, for instance, is good for like coming back if you, for example, you have a link that you always visit. Maybe it's like Google or Facebook or something, and you just have that bookmarked. It's easy access. So it's good for that, but it's not good for learning and really integrating knowledge in your head because you don't really connect ideas back. You just have it like sitting there, which is why I added the link. Photocopying items doesn't help with learning. Yeah, for my next point, I don't really get the rewards like these doves. For me, it's just an unnecessary step. So it's so I wrote this as so like the reason I wrote this is because like they were talking a little bit how like doves get conditioned to just like collecting things. I don't feel like that's something that happens to me. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm just so conditioned that it happens. But I think it's more so for like loss aversion that I collect things. I don't feel like gratification collecting things. I just feel like a fear of losing things. That's what like motivates me. It's like the carrot and the stick. For me, it's just the stick right now. There's not too much carrot. Um, so the next point I write is I don't think reading is pointless without note taking. It still helps us, but the portion of information we absorb is a lot less. So in this article, I think they speak about how like reading isn't very helpful, and you have to take notes in order to like even absorb information. Maybe I'm interpreting it wrong, but I feel like they're saying reading is pointless. I don't think reading is pointless without note taking. I feel like you can still like gain a lot of value just from reading, as long as like you are not like mindlessly reading. You're like spending the time to like think about what you read and integrating that into your brain. Yeah, so that really ties back with like merging content, information, ideas, and thoughts. Um, and yeah, that's just like the process in learning. Next step is the next point is the first step to conquering collector's fallacy is to realize that collecting notes does not increase knowledge. I add a link to collector's fallacy because again, I feel that this is a very important concept, and I know that I'll probably revisit it in the future. So like, yes, I do agree like that collecting notes does not increase knowledge. It's the integrating part that does. And collecting notes is a step, not a necessary step, but a step to help facilitate that integration. And if you make it like super easy, as in like clicking one button, that really doesn't really change much apart from just reading the knowledge itself or reading the content itself. Finally, I make a connection because in the really last paragraph they talk about how like knowledge comes better with smaller. Knowledge is better with small cycles. Comes better in small cycles, and I felt like, oh, this really like strikes with me, or strikes with me, and I feel that yes, our brains are like better equipped to deal with like smaller incremental tasks and habits or just anything in general. And yeah, so like you're gonna do better if you study over like a long period of time rather than all at once. Like it just makes sense to me, which is why I added a link there. And yeah, that's the article. Thank you for listening.